Today's Pearl Harbor. Since 1908,
Pearl Harbor was a U.S. naval base in the Pacific and is home to the U.S. Pacific Fleet. It was established on the Hawaiian island of Oahu in 1908.
New channels were being made over the years to accommodate for the larger ships that were beginning to be constructed.
All was peaceful on December 7th, 1941.
That was until a fleet of Japanese aircraft bombers swept over American territory and let out an 1,800-pound bomb that crashed through the deck of a U.S. battleship.
The Japanese motive on the attack was caused by the inevitability of the U.S. eventually joining the war, so they decided to go on a surprise attack to wipe out their main Navy ships before the U.S. joined the war.
Between bombs and torpedoes, 461 total were launched on that day.
Despite prior belief, the attack only lasted 2 hours.
Most of the U.S. fleet aircraft were not present at the time of the attack.
Therefore, the U.S. could not fight back as well because most of their artillery was not present.
Japan is 4,000 miles away from Pearl Harbor, so this would take a heavily planned and well-executed attack for planned work.
To the Japanese, Pearl Harbor was a relatively easy target for an attack.
The Japanese attacked on a Sunday because they all believed that the Americans would be more relaxed.
On the other hand, America actually fired the first shot.
The order for the assault was given on November 5th, 1941, and on November 16th, the task force began to meet in the Kuril Islands.
The Kuril Islands are located off the coast of Russia, northeast of Japan. This was sort of like a pit stop to continue their plan to attack America.
Hero alert!
U.S. pilots George Welch and Kenneth Taylor managed to fly under fire twice, and between them they shot down at least 6 Japanese planes. They were both awarded the Distinguished Service Cross on January 8, 1942. They were both considered the first 2 American heroes of World War II. Thank you, Welch and Taylor, for your bravery and service to this country.
Another hero has been spotted.
Doris Miller was an African American who was a cook and a laundry attendant on the USS West Virginia. When the ship was struck, he rushed to his battle station. Finding it destroyed, he sprinted to the quarterdeck and helped move the injured. Despite not being trained with any weapons, he eventually had to use a gun for 15 minutes until ordered to abandon ship. His actions and leadership earned him the Navy Cross. This was the first ever to be presented to an African American. Thank you, Doris, for your bravery and dedication to this country.
In strategic terms, the Japanese had failed their plan of the attack.
In the end, 2,343 were killed, 1,272 were wounded, and 960 were left missing.
The Japanese had a lighter load of losses, with 29 aircrafts and 5 mini-submarines destroyed, along with 64 dying and 1 soldier being captured.
Although the bombing affected a lot of the island, vital onshore facilities were still left intact.
Facilities like oil shortage depots, repair shops, and shipyards and submarine docks were all left intact.
Sailors jumped into fires to escape sinking vessels.
All 8 U.S. battleships were damaged and half of them were sunk. All of the ones that have sunk were raised except for the USS Arizona.
The naval ships USS California and USS West Virginia had both completely sunk, but the Navy had raised them out of the water, repaired them, and reused them.
Before the invasion of the attack, the USS Arizona filled its tank with 1.5 million gallons of fuel. The fuel helped ignite the ship into flames and destroy it. Today, the USS Arizona leaks up to 9 quarts of oil into the harbor every day. This oil will continue to leak out into the ocean for the next 500 years.
The result of this attack accelerated the U.S. joining the war.
The United States entered World War II on December 8, 1941.
It was announced to the public that we would be joining the war during the famous infamy speech by Franklin D. Roosevelt.
The men had left for war, which meant that the women had to play a bigger role in the society.
Women had to begin to help in the productions of uniforms, tanks, jeeps, and battleships.
Women were not subjected to working only in the households anymore.
During this time, a lot of technological progress has been made.
These advances were the production of computers and other electronic devices. Devices like these were in demand at this time.
In conclusion, the attack on Pearl Harbor was a day of great loss.
A day that will live on forever.
A day everyone should remember.
Take time to remember those who lost their lives.
That's it. I did it.
It's American.
It's American. That's American. All right, Mike, you go on. I approved this message.